When we talk about aging well, really thriving in our 50s, 60s, 70s, and beyond, there's one silent disruptor that most people continue to ignore, and that's sugar. Now, I'm not just talking about white table sugar. I'm talking about the hidden sugars, the sneaky carbohydrates that get rapidly broken down into glucose, and the blood sugar roller coaster that follows. After the age of 50, something important begins to shift inside your body. Your insulin sensitivity, the ability of your cells to respond to insulin and absorb glucose, begins to decline. This means even small amounts of sugar or processed carbohydrates can spike your blood sugar dramatically, leading to energy crashes, increased fat storage, and even cellular damage. Now here's what most people don't realize. This isn't just about weight gain. It's about how your body starts to function differently when you continue eating sugar as you age. Elevated blood glucose levels can damage your mitochondria, the energy-producing powerhouses of your cells. And when your mitochondria are impaired, you don't just feel tired, you begin to age faster. Brain fog, fatigue, joint pain, inflammation, even a decline in mood or drive. All of these are tied to how your body metabolizes sugar. When you're in your 20s or 30s, you can get away with the occasional indulgence. Your metabolism is more forgiving. But once you hit midlife, those sugar spikes start adding up. Every donut, every sugary beverage, every slice of bread chips away at your metabolic flexibility. You become less resilient, more inflamed, and your ability to bounce back from stress, both physical and mental, starts to erode. And this is exactly why zero-carb, zero-sugar superfoods become so critical. These are not just trendy health items, these are tools, scientifically backed tools, that help you stabilize blood sugar, reduce oxidative stress, and restore metabolic balance. When you eat foods that don't spike your blood sugar, you're keeping your energy steady, your mind focused, and your body in a fat-burning, muscle-preserving state. It's not about cutting calories or starving yourself. It's about shifting your inputs. Imagine this: you wake up, and instead of reaching for toast, cereal, or fruit juice, all of which rapidly convert to sugar, you fuel your body with something like eggs, rich in leucine and B vitamins. Or maybe you opt for sardines or mackerel, loaded with omega-3 fatty acids and no sugar at all. What happens? You stay full longer. You don't get that mid-morning crash. Your brain feels sharper. Your joints don't ache as much. You feel grounded in your energy. This is not magic, it's biology. You're not fighting age. You're aligning with your biology, and that's the difference between aging and thriving. We also have to understand how sugar subtly influences our behavior. It lights up the brain's reward centers in the same way addictive substances do. This is why we often find ourselves craving more of it, even when we know we shouldn't. But when you start replacing those hidden sugars with zero-carb, nutrient-dense foods, you naturally reduce those cravings. The less sugar you consume, the less your body demands it. Your dopamine system recalibrates, your taste buds reset. What once felt like a need becomes just another outdated habit you've left behind. I've seen people make this shift in their 60s, even 70s, and the transformation is real. Skin clears up, digestion improves, sleep gets deeper, and perhaps most importantly, there's a sense of control that returns. That's powerful because aging doesn't have to mean decline. It can mean mastery. If you know how to eat for the stage of life you're in, you're not just eating to survive, you're eating to signal strength, stability, and longevity to every cell in your body. There's a reason sugar is often called the most socially accepted toxin in our diet. Most people don't even realize how much of it they're consuming daily, especially after the age of 50, when the body becomes more vulnerable to its damaging effects. What's even more concerning is that the harmful impact of sugar and processed carbohydrates isn't always visible right away. It builds quietly, slowly, and systemically. That's what makes it so dangerous. As you age, your body becomes less efficient at metabolizing glucose. Your pancreas has to work harder to produce insulin, and your cells become less responsive to it. This leads to frequent blood sugar spikes followed by rapid crashes. These fluctuations create oxidative stress, damage blood vessels, and inflame tissues throughout your body. Over time, this process contributes to nearly every major disease we associate with aging: type 2 diabetes, heart disease, joint degeneration, and cognitive decline. But let's go deeper than that. Sugar impacts your brain in ways most people aren't even aware of. Chronically high blood glucose can impair the function of neurons. It contributes to the buildup of beta amyloid plaques, the same kind found in the brains of Alzheimer's patients. That's why some researchers now refer to Alzheimer's as type 3 diabetes. It's not just a memory problem, it's a metabolic one, and the source, sugar and processed carbohydrates consumed day after day, year after year. Most seniors are never told that their mid-afternoon forgetfulness, their lack of focus, or even their low mood could be related to what they're eating. But it is, and here's the kicker, it's not just the obvious sugar bombs like soda or candy bars. It's also the seemingly harmless bowl of oatmeal, the healthy fruit smoothie, the morning toast. All of these are rapidly converted into glucose in the body and, in an aging system, become fuel for inflammation and fatigue, not energy. This is why the concept of zero-carb superfoods isn't a fad, it's a strategy rooted in how your biology changes with age. Think of every cell in your body as having a communication system. When you feed those cells sugar, you disrupt the clarity of that communication. When you eliminate it and focus on nutrient-rich, low-inflammatory foods, the signal clears. You give your body what it needs to operate at full capacity. We also have to talk about inflammation. Sugar and processed carbs are among the most inflammatory substances you can consume. They activate a molecule called NF-κB, which drives the production of inflammatory cytokines, chemicals that damage tissues, joints, and even DNA over time. This is why so many older adults experience chronic joint pain, fatigue, or persistent infections without any clear explanation. Their bodies are in a state of constant low-grade inflammation, largely fueled by what's on their plates. And here's the good news, this damage is reversible. When you cut out processed carbs and sugars and start nourishing your body with clean proteins, healthy fats, and zero-sugar superfoods, the inflammation starts to go down. Your energy levels rise, your cognitive clarity returns, your body begins to repair what was once breaking down. It's not too late. It's never too late to change the trajectory of your health. I've seen people in their 60s and 70s come off multiple medications, regain mental sharpness, and feel more alive than they did in their 40s, just by changing what they eat. That's the power food has. It can either be your slow poison or your daily medicine. So when we talk about eliminating sugar and processed carbs from your life, we're not talking about giving something up. We're talking about getting something back: your vitality, your strength, your peace of mind. One of the most overlooked aspects of aging well is how food directly influences your brain, your mood, your focus, even your sleep. We often separate nutrition from mental health and cognitive function, but they are deeply connected. What you eat isn't just fueling your muscles or organs, it's constantly sending signals to your brain, and when you get those signals right, everything changes. Think about it this way: every bite you take is either helping your brain work better or making it work harder. When you consume sugary, carb-heavy foods, especially on a regular basis, they trigger rapid spikes in blood glucose. Those spikes can make you feel energized for a moment, but just as quickly, they lead to a crash. That crash doesn't just affect your physical energy, it hits your brain too. That's when the fog rolls in, motivation dips, and even simple decisions feel more complicated than they should be. Now imagine the opposite. Imagine giving your brain a steady, reliable source of fuel, one that doesn't create chaos in your blood sugar levels or overload your system with inflammation. That's what zero-carb, zero-sugar superfoods provide. When you shift your diet toward foods that don't spike insulin, like fatty fish, pastured eggs, and grass-fed meats. You're giving your brain the raw materials it needs to produce key neurotransmitters like dopamine, serotonin, and acetylcholine. These chemicals control everything from your drive and motivation to your emotional resilience and memory. One of the most common things I hear from people when they clean up their diet is how much clearer their thinking becomes. It's not just about the body feeling lighter, it's the mind becoming sharper. That's not a coincidence. The brain runs more efficiently when inflammation is low and energy production is stable, and the right foods that are naturally low in sugar and carbs, help make that happen consistently. Sleep is another area where this connection shows up. Sugar-laden diets, especially in the second half of the day, disrupt sleep quality. They elevate cortisol, delay melatonin production, and cause blood sugar fluctuations during the night that can lead to restless sleep or early waking. On the other hand, eating nutrient-dense, low-carb meals supports balanced hormones and better circadian rhythm alignment. When your brain gets deep, restorative sleep, it performs better the next day. Focus improves, mood lifts. You don't just get through the day, you move through it with clarity and purpose. This is what I want you to understand. Food is not just about calories or weight management. It's about communication between your gut and your brain, between your hormones and your neurotransmitters, and when you choose the right foods, that communication becomes cleaner, more efficient, more powerful. So if you've been feeling off, mentally scattered, emotionally drained, or just not as sharp as you used to be, it might not be aging, it might be inflammation, it might be sugar, and the fix starts on your plate. One of the most critical challenges we face as we age is the steady loss of muscle mass, a condition called sarcopenia. It begins slowly, often without obvious signs, but over time it robs you of your strength, stability, and independence. After age 50, most people lose about 1% of their muscle mass per year if they're not doing something about it. That means by the time you're 70 or 80, you could have lost 20-30% of your muscle, and with it, your energy, mobility, and confidence. Muscle isn't just about looking fit. It's one of the most metabolically active tissues in your body. It helps regulate your blood sugar, supports joint function, protects your bones, and even influences your immune system. But here's the issue. If your diet is filled with sugar and refined carbs, you're feeding inflammation and breaking down muscle faster than your body can rebuild it. That's why so many older adults feel weaker, more tired, or less steady on their feet over time. It's not just aging, it's nutrition. This is where zero-carb, zero-sugar superfoods come in. These aren't just foods that avoid damaging your body, they actively support it. Many of these foods are high in complete proteins and rich in amino acids, especially leucine, which plays a key role in muscle protein synthesis. Think of foods like eggs, wild-caught salmon, grass-fed beef, liver, and bone broth. They're not just zero-carb, they're anabolic. They give your muscles the building blocks they need to grow and repair, even as you get older, and the benefits go far beyond muscle maintenance. When your muscle mass is preserved, your metabolism stays active. You burn more calories at rest. You process blood sugar more effectively, lowering your risk of insulin resistance and diabetes. You move better, feel more energetic, and stay more engaged in your daily life. That means fewer falls, fewer injuries, and greater confidence in your ability to stay active and independent. Now, some people worry that eating more protein or fat might somehow harm their health, especially later in life. But the science is clear. When you remove sugar and replace it with nutrient-dense, high-quality protein and healthy fats, your body becomes more efficient, not less. You're not overloading the system. You're finally giving it what it's been missing. And we can't ignore the mental side of this either. When you feel strong physically, that confidence spills over into every area of your life. You walk differently, you speak differently, you carry yourself with presence. That's the power of muscle. It's not about building bulk, it's about building resilience. So if you're trying to preserve your health, your metabolism, and your energy as you age. Don't fear protein. Don't fear fat. Fear weakness, fear fragility, and do everything in your power, starting with what's on your plate, to fight against it. One of the most important shifts that happens as we age is how our immune system begins to respond to stress and internal threats. It becomes slower to react, more prone to mistakes, and often stuck in a state of low-grade, chronic inflammation. This silent inflammation is at the root of so many age-related conditions: joint pain, fatigue, cardiovascular issues, cognitive decline, and even depression. What many people don't realize is how much of this inflammation is driven by what we eat every day. When your diet is filled with processed carbohydrates and sugar, you're constantly triggering an immune response. Your body treats these substances like a threat, launching inflammatory processes that were designed to help us fight infection or heal from injury. But when that inflammation is constant, day in, day out, it becomes destructive instead of protective. Over time, it breaks down tissues, damages cells, and exhausts your immune system. This is where zero-carb, zero-sugar superfoods become powerful tools, not just for nourishment, but for healing. Many of these foods contain compounds that actively reduce inflammation and support immune function. Wild-caught salmon and sardines, for example, are rich in omega-3 fatty acids like EPA and DHA, which help turn off the inflammatory response at the cellular level. Bone broth is packed with glycine and collagen, which support gut health and reduce inflammation in the digestive tract, where much of the immune system is located. Then there's olive oil, especially extra virgin olive oil. It's not only zero sugar, but it contains polyphenols, plant-based compounds that neutralize free radicals and help regulate immune signaling. And don't overlook simple ingredients like garlic, turmeric, or ginger. These aren't just flavor. They're part of a therapeutic strategy to calm your immune system and support your long-term health. When you consistently eat these kinds of anti-inflammatory, nutrient-rich foods, you begin to feel the difference. Your joints ache less, you wake up feeling lighter, clearer, your digestion improves, your energy stabilizes, and your immune system becomes more resilient. This isn't a short-term detox, it's a long-term reset. And it starts with removing the foods that keep you inflamed and replacing them with the ones that help your body heal. You don't need expensive treatments or complicated supplements. You just need to consistently choose foods that work with your biology, not against it. Knowing what to eat is only half the equation. The real transformation happens when you start building these zero-carb, zero-sugar superfoods into your daily routine, consistently, practically, and in a way that fits your lifestyle. It doesn't have to be complicated. In fact, the simpler it is, the more likely it is to stick. The first step is to stop thinking about meals in terms of what you're removing, sugar, carbs, processed foods, and start focusing on what you're adding. Begin your day with a breakfast that stabilizes blood sugar instead of spiking it. That might be a few pasture-raised eggs cooked in olive oil or grass-fed butter, maybe paired with a few slices of avocado or a piece of smoked salmon. You don't need toast, you don't need juice, you need protein, healthy fats, and nutrients that tell your body it's safe, it's stable, and it's time to burn clean fuel. Lunch doesn't need to be elaborate either. A grilled piece of chicken or sardines on a bed of spinach with olive oil and lemon gives you everything your body needs: zero sugar, powerful antioxidants, and anti-inflammatory compounds that support both brain and immune function. The more simple and repeatable your meals are, the easier it is to stay consistent. Dinner should follow the same approach. Think protein first. Whether it's steak, lamb, or fish, start with a portion that supports muscle repair and satiety. Pair it with a low-carb vegetable like zucchini, cauliflower, or leafy greens. Add a spoonful of olive oil or a dash of sea salt, not to make it taste better, but to ensure your body is getting the minerals and fats it actually needs to absorb the nutrients. For snacks, Keep it strategic. Hard, boiled eggs, beef liver crisps, a handful of macadamia nuts. These are all powerful, zero, sugar options that deliver energy without crashing your system. And most importantly, stay hydrated. Sometimes what feels like fatigue or hunger is actually mild dehydration, especially as you age. Grocery shopping can also be simple. Stick to the perimeter of the store, buy whole foods, ones without labels. Shop with a list. Prep your meals in batches so you're never caught off guard. It's not about being perfect, it's about being prepared. Because when you create a system that makes it easier to choose the right foods every day, you're not relying on willpower anymore. You're relying on structure, and structure done right sets you free. So when you look at all of this, how sugar damages the brain, weakens the muscles, inflames the body, and accelerates aging, it becomes clear. The path to strength, clarity, and longevity isn't complicated. It's a matter of choosing foods that fuel healing, not decay. These zero-carb, zero-sugar superfoods aren't just about avoiding the wrong things. They're about embracing the right ones, nutrient-dense brain, supporting muscle, building inflammation, fighting tools that give your body what it truly needs. You're not too old, it's not too late, your body is still listening. The question is, what message will you send it starting today?